I'll show you something might be of interest to you. Even get a pencil. We're gonna get the book out. It's International Harvester. Get a pencil. And as we go along here, we'll as something comes to hand so we can move it on, we'll talk about it. But the subject is that McCormick-Deering-engine, not this one. McCormick, it's the same type, different ignition. But the engine in focus is a McCormick-Deering Type M 1 1/2 horsepower with a bosch-magneto. Only has one lobe on the cam for the exhaust valve. So, and it's a 1923. So to that end, I mean, these are available on the internet. You know, comment, you know, I need this part, you know, where can I get that at? You know, it's the internet. All you gotta do is click something over and you can, they'll deliver it to you tomorrow, you know. It's a change in times, but not to be distracted. Keeping in mind, the focus is this Bosch mixer. But talking about that internet, this was an internet buy that was ordered as a 1 1/2 horsepower push rod return spring. Well, this is the one came on that engine. I mean, it's not flat. It's good. It's what you're gonna have. But as you can see, the spring don't fit it. So, you know, I'm just saying that was an internet buy. And also keeping in focus that this is the normal, if we can see that. Well, let's get to the, this is what I'm going to use on the engine right here. So I hope we're in focus. We ain't, call it audio. Leave a comment, thumbs up or something, you know, get the viewer, pass it on to a friend. See, can we get some numbers up here? And, you know, everybody else says they need the viewers, clicks, and all that stuff to buy some Permatex, you know, some kind of gasket sealer or something. So, yeah, go ahead and leave a comment even. But, so you can be thinking about it, is if you, in this McCormick-Deering, these were not badged International, they were badged McCormick-Deering. And they had one every year. So if you own an engine of any brand or kind, you know, you are a mess if you don't have the instructions and the parts manual for that engine. You know, you can know all you want to know, but when you get that manual and read it, you'll know a little bit something else. I'm just saying. But sometimes, when I was putting this engine back together, I called on that's instructions, and I called on it to see the layout of the fuel lines that year. You know, how did they come down the engine? You know what I mean? And I'm not pleased with them, but I may do it just to be in tune with the engine. But also, when I was putting this mixer back together, I discovered that there was not a pointer on top here. Here is the normal top. This is a Bosch only item, I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. I have another Bosch in Q, and it's the same way. It was never casted for that, you know? Part number. And this is the later model that has the casting. That's the difference. That's the difference. So, but it's a H763, and this is a H763. They're the same number, it's just these were not casted with that. So, as I was putting it together, there was nowhere for this indicator to line up as this indicator would be. So, at some point in this engine's life, a part got missing on it. This being the original mixer that came on the engine. In its total, I've not took it apart. You know, it's homemade, the whole apparatus there. But it is original. And it's one of them kind of things where that, you know, if you're going to replace that right there, when you screw that out, you are going to break that. So it's better to put this on an engine that you just want to get run and use it as is, which I'm going to save it aside. But, and take a note again, the outlet is on the bottom and it has a screw in the front here. That's going to be a clue later on. Now, I got to looking in this manual, and if you look right down there on that screw, there's a chain attached to it there. And over here, there's a screw, and there's a pointer on there. So if you come over here, oh, there's something. Okay, looking at this side view, it don't show it. But it shows the top with no indicator on it. And that was the point of this other. It shows the top with no indicator on it. No indicator. But it shows a little thing. Okay, now I've got a clue so far as to what I need. I'm going to show you something. You come on over here in the middle of it and you get a front, back, and side. And if you look down from the top, there's a V-shaped pointer sticking out there. Okay? If you look at it from the side, there's a V-shaped pointer sticking outward up a little angle, and then it flattens off for a short period of time. And it don't go past the back of the valve handle. So, and it does come behind that. You can see a line come down, so you can see it comes behind that screw. Okay, looking at this head-on view right here, straight head-on, there's actually a tab. A little tab comes out like that, and it goes away, and then up at the top, you can actually see the top of the pointer right here, like this. Oh, we ought to focus over there. Y'all probably ain't seeing that. The pointer would be right in this position back here. So, taking all of this in consideration, and actually come over here in the back, in the parts list. See, this is the reason you have a book on these engines. If you come over here in the parts list, this is a reprint. Well, I don't say how much I paid for it, but it wasn't much. And if you come in the back of the book, actually, there's a part there that has a part number. It's a H5486. And it's got a little arm out, it's got a big hole in it, and it sticks up like that right there is the picture. Well, it's very small, you don't get much out. But you actually get a layout of what's required to put all this back together. So I'll show you what I'm working with. And that was the criteria that I'm going by to build one. And also take note in the front here when I was looking at this instructions. If you look at the intake valve on this engine, actually had this kind of keeper on it. On that valve, You know, it had a keeper with a pin down in there like that, and then you crimp it up like that. That's showing in that picture on the intake. So, you know, log that in if you taking notes on the Bosch. So what I did is I imagined what that thing might be, and I drawed it out on this cardboard like that way and that way, and then I measured from the big hole over to the little one center line, which is 1 inch. So I drawed that hole there and that hole there, and then I come across that way and made that round in correspondence to the shape of the head of that screw right there. This. So I used that as a size to get this and that and that, and then, you know, thinking in a engineering type way, this hole in the center of this right here. Now just think about this to yourself right there while you're watching this. That hole in the middle right there has to be big enough to come over them threads right there. So that's what I did. I drilled a hole that big so it would slide over there. And the reasoning that it's that big is you don't want this right here to bottom out against the outside here, like to tighten it up or so it wouldn't move. So it has to be a free fitting that will slide over this threads because the nut part is bigger. So taking all that in consideration, I drawed this up right here and cut it. I cut one of them out. I sawed this out with a saw and then filed on it a little bit. And anyways, when I did that, I cut it out, and this is what I had. I bended it like that, and then bend it up here a little bit like that right there, where it would kind of be what I was going to have. So then I scribed this on a piece of aluminum. I've done already thrown it back in a bin or where I'd get it out and show it to you. But it was just a flat aluminum, this thickness right here, which the reason I use this thickness right here is actually you can go by the top on these mixers right here. This thickness right here, you know, and also I had over there in stock these right here indicators, these little pointers. They go on the earlier model carburetor that would be right here on the same brand. So I figured, and I straightened one of them out to get the angle right there of that pointer, because I was thinking that the engineer that made this thing right here would probably have made the thing that I needed. So he would have probably used this same angle right here to make that pointer with. So, you know, if you look at it right there, it is the little one. So I cut that out, and then I bend it up, and this is what I ended up with. This little thing right here from the blueprint. So, and so if you have, what I'm saying, what I'm getting to is it's not going to be a very big number of people that has a American Bosch engine, because they didn't make many of them, you know. But anyway, this is the body I'm using. It's the same number and all, same position, everything. This is identical to this original one. You know, they're original. You know, so I had this one already cleaned up, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it. I've done run a tap and everything there today. So, and we'll go ahead and build it up and kind of. I'll show you something. Oh yeah, I made this thing right here. It's that collar that goes in there. It's made out of that 6160 aluminum bar stock billet. So you can see it's got a billet venturi in it. And anyways, I took a file and I filed that down in the under, what do you call that? It fits now, and it's rounded. Boy, it should have a good venturi in it. It's a little big, you know, but factory size. And if you're making these right here, You have to keep in mind on the thickness. You're going to put a gasket on there, but you don't want that thing to be taller than the space you got. So, and if you start with one piece and put together, you probably won't have no problems with it. And this thing right here, this is a homemade deal too. Some years back, it's a piece of brass tubing. No, it ain't. It's a piece of brass stock 3/8 solid bar. Turned on the lathe and drilled a hole in it, and then a seat down in there and a thread and a copper tubing soldered in the bottom and threaded and all. So to put that together, oh yeah, I made this thing here too. That's a good way to make these right here. It's an easy way to make them. It's that jam nut for this setup here, and this siphon has that's a copper one. A little copper gasket there. Okay, that siphon goes up in there in that little hole, and then this thing right here, and that fits up in there like that. So, and it's the length and all to where that this don't bottom out onto the housing. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put that together. Like I'm just gonna mock it up and take it back apart and put some sealer. It'll have gasola sealer at all, and this is the bracket I come up with. So, and the chain attaches to it too per the instruction manual. And when I put this back together, it'll have a little bit of gasola gasket sealer in there at all points. Well, and then you would tighten this up and holding that little siphon straight down inside the mixer, and you would tighten that up really good. Now we're ready to go there, and this right here, okay, this is the reason that you would need that part on there. Okay, it ends up right that position, you know, looking at it sideways as per the picture, you know, and looking down at it from the top and from the front. You know, and this screw here is only common to the Bosch engine. All the other models does not have this screw, and I think the sole purpose of that screw is to anchor this pointer plate. But you put that in there with the big side down, and you would have a gasket on there, so that would go right there. And so you know, that's the way that goes. And I was going to make a new compensating valve to go in it, but I have one right here that came out of another engine, parts engine, that is perfectly good. It's got 2 holes in it for the gas model. So I'm going to clean this up really good, shine it, and I'll put this in there. And I'm going to use that in it and this is the backing plate that goes here. And originally when I got the engine, this backing plate was turned backwards. The way it goes is like that right there. You know, it goes inward, you know, instead of like that. I'm just saying. It fits right in there. And also you need to put some sealer right here. Permatex hardening type a little bit. And then when you put this on there, it don't suck no air around that right there. Because it's important that and if I could show you that seat down in there. So yeah. And the rest of the fitting, I guess, fittings is well, you would have a on this side over here, that's a quarter inch pipe thread. Seems a little tight. Oh yeah, very good. So we'll put that's the way that goes, and that's that's used one, but I don't think it's original. And then the bottom on this side gets a 1/4 inch pipe thread, this one, and then the other side of here gets a plug. So with all of that, oh yeah, turn that in for grade. I'm from here in Middle Tennessee, geographical center of something. Shop Dog Sam. And we'll make another one of them. Got a blueprint now.